The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup. Study that was done by Columbia University School of Public Health. They found that teen suicide is more likely in conservative areas. I'm not kidding. That was a finding of their study. What they did is they focused on different counties within the state of Oregon. And they looked at liberal counties, conservative counties, and they found out that the social environment that a teenager lives in has a huge impact on whether or not that teenager either thinks about or commits suicide. It's incredible. So just to give you an idea of what the numbers are. Go ahead, Cenk.
Well, it's interesting because you would say, how do you determine whether it's a liberal or conservative county? Obviously, they look at voting patterns. They roughly consider Democrat voting as more liberal and Republican voting as more conservative. But they also look at a host of other things, like whether there's counseling for gay students that are available or not. And they get a sense of it. And then the overall numbers, as Anna's about to show you, led to, a significant difference between conservative and liberal counties on how they treat gays, but also, interestingly, the rate of suicide attempts for straight students as well.
Right, so let me tell you what the numbers are. The study looked at a survey of about 32,000 11th graders in 34 different counties in Oregon. So it's a very extensive study. And 4% of those students were gay, lesbian, or bisexual. It found that gay, lesbian, or bisexual youth living in a supportive social environment were 25% less likely to try killing themselves. Okay. Also, the LGB youth were more than 5 times as likely to have attempted suicide in the previous 12 months as their heterosexual peers. So 21% versus 4.2% of their peers, their straight peers. The study also found that more supportive social environment also associated with 20% fewer suicide attempts than an unsupportive environment. A supportive environment was also associated with a 9% lower rate of attempted suicide among heterosexual students.
So let's talk about that phenomenon for a second, because look, if you have an oppressive environment and it's more conservative, meaning, that it is not open to whether it's the LGBT community or different ideas, etc., I don't think it's that surprising that you get the results that you get for gay students, although it should really be a wake-up call. This is a matter of life and death for some of these students. So it's not just, hey, how do they feel about this, or what is your view or not your view on it? It leads to direct consequences for a lot of these students. And my guess is, of course, that it's not just Oregon, that you would find very similar results throughout the country. But you might be wondering, why straight students? Why do they have that same phenomenon? My guess is that if you live in those kind of conservative areas, they're less tolerant to everything, not just being gay or not. Would I be surprised if there was more bullying? No, I wouldn't. Any kind of differences in the student body might lead to people being ostracized. When they're ostracized, they're depressed. When they're bullied, they're depressed. Depression leads to attempted suicide. And that's what the numbers bear out.
Absolutely. And one thing that you have to keep in mind is that suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among 15 to 24-year-olds. So it's a huge problem, and that's why the researchers at Columbia wanted to look into this. And this story is starting to become more and more covered in the media because of things like what happened in Rutgers University last year, where an 18-year-old gay student killed himself after one of his roommates showed a video of him having sex with another man. He basically secretly videotaped him and then showed it to other students. So this type of bullying is happening all the time, and if you are a gay teen or a gay student who's living in an area where it's not socially acceptable to be gay, and you are constantly bullied, well, then you're more likely to have thoughts of suicide. Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.